This is a springform tin. This is especially useful when you set cheesecakes and mousse cakes and normally delicate stuff. So this is really nice to have. These normally come in round shapes and at about 8-inch. This could be about 8, 9 or 10-inch in diameter. As you can see, this has a clasp here which helps you to loosen the tin, and then also removable bottom here so that you could just remove the cake, just slip the cake out from this. And then we have this really pretty pans called as Bundt pans. So when you bake a cake in this, it's going to look like this. The cake is going to be looking like this, and these pretty ridges and the very pretty shape here. This will be really pretty, especially when you want to make a very pretty cake and you don't have the time for decoration, frosting and a lot of other things. So this cake will look pretty with just some bit of glaze or maybe some chilled custard poured in the center, and the custard flowing everywhere around the cake. It looks really pretty. So this is something not absolutely essential when you start, but really nice to have. This comes in, this is a 6-cup capacity Bundt pan, and this is a 12-cup capacity one. And then this is one more in the same category, and it gives you a cake which looks like this. And then we have this mini Bundt pan, so that you can make cakes which are really tiny but still have this pretty shape. You can see the lemon syrup Bundt cakes on my blog. And then this is a baby Bundt pan, same concept again, and you would get slightly larger cakes, maybe for gifting pretty cakes individually wrapped. And this is a tube pan. This is one of my most prized possessions, and as you can see, there's a tube in the middle, and then this has a removable bottom, and the edges will be straight. They will not have any ridges here. And this one is majorly used for baking chiffon cakes and angel food cakes, two very special category cakes. And I had baked an orange chiffon cake a couple of years ago, and I still remember the taste and the texture of that cake. It was something I have never had before. So this is something you really should buy down the line, because you must bake a chiffon cake. And then this pan normally has feet. This is called as the feet of the tube pan, and this cake is normally cooled upside down, and then this feet is helpful when you want to invert this pan and cool it like this, so that the cake doesn't touch your counter. Remember never to buy a tube pan in non-stick, because you literally then may not be able to cool the cake upside down. The moment you invert it, the cake may actually just slip out even before it cools completely. And then these are loaf pans. You could use them for baking loaf cakes or yeast breads also. Especially when you start baking yeast breads, you will need these standard size loaf pans. A 9 by 5 by 3 loaf pan is most commonly used, and then you could also use a lot more different shapes depending on how you want to present the bread or the cake. So these are loaf pans in various sizes, and but the standard size one is the most difficult to get, so maybe that should be the first one you should get. These are pie pans. This normally looks like this, because this is used for baking pies. These are really good, and something you should buy down the line. And then these are tart tins, and this comes with a removable bottom so that you can just slip out the tart from this like this. This is a bigger one, and then the smaller ones and the mini versions of the same thing. And you get even tinier ones in a tray. Just like the mini Bundt pan, you get a mini tart pan as well. And of course, it's more practical to fill the semi-liquid fillings like ganache and pastry cream in individual servings, because it's easier to eat as well. Then these are Ramekins. You could use them for baking custards mostly, and then some clafouti, creme brulee, and a lot of other really good desserts. And these are really pretty to look at, so that you could bake and serve in them as well. And then I find that this half cup capacity size, that is 120 ml, is the best serving size for desserts like these, because they are quite rich, and then bigger serving may be a little too much. So you could get them in different shapes and sizes and colors. There's no end to that. And then of course you need to have a few of these Borosil ones as well. This is really and especially good when you want to make something which has layers, and you want the layers to be visible, as in bread and butter pudding, or maybe you could also set trifles in bowls like this. That looks really pretty. When you use glass, do remember to lower the temperature by about 10 degrees centigrade, as this conducts heat faster. And then a sheet pan for baking Swiss rolls, the pretty roulades. You'll be just baking a very flattish kind of sponge in this, and then fill it up with some whipped cream and berries perhaps, and then roll it up. That looks really pretty, and that's one of the things I haven't baked yet, but yes, I did, but in a slightly smaller sized pan. But 17 by 12 is the most common size, and see if you could get that. And then we have some more. This is something I just picked up because I like these. I haven't used them yet. As you can see, the price tag is still on. I wanted to bake some mini cakes in this with fresh fruit, so that by the time the cake bakes, the fruit is not all overcooked and completely mushy. So these kind of mini sizes in different shapes and sizes are very helpful for baking different things according to your imagination. So as you can see, there's really no limit to the number of tins and pans you could own. I have a few more there, so that will be it.